No kings. No kings. We've got no kings, right? We don't want any kings in this country. We will not have kings in this country. But Elon Musk, still richest person, right? Still in charge of basically half the government, even though he already did everything that he came to do. Right? That whole Doge thing, right? No kings. No kings. But Jeff Bezos still gets to control the fucking Washington Post and like Amazon, which is the biggest fucking one of the biggest employers and is how everybody gets everything. And also the internet, Amazon Web Services. No kings, but the actual president we have does whatever the fuck he wants, just like he always has done for his entire life, right? The nonsensical, deeply unserious nature of what was the largest protest in American history is galling because it's all about words and clever fucking slogans. They say that 8 million people participated nationwide, and that's 8 million people who would have done a lot fucking better to just decide on a couple days, a week, a month of boycotting X, Y, and Z companies, of not going to work, of not paying their taxes. Something that's actually material. But a bunch of those people went, felt like they were part of the movement, and then went home and continued to give their money to Tesla, to Amazon, right? We're fucked in some really serious ways. And it's like I need to stop policing myself about how I express that, y'all. Because I said this, I think it was in our gaming server, but oil isn't just oil, right? I mean, we're also talking about like the fertilizer thing is a gigantic problem as well, but oil isn't just oil. Oil is also plastic, and plastic is fucking everything in this world. I think y'all don't really get how bad it's going to get here and how fast. And all of the stuff that I've been talking about for literally years at this point, right? Now, I'm going to give a little piece of nuance in the other direction because there were some people who were like, go to the lived out protest and try and grab who you can grab. And actually, I don't disagree with them because one of the problems we do have is that when we know better and we have basically become jaded already because we've been involved in this stuff for a while, we tend to look down on and leave behind people who aren't as far along as we are, right? So that's also true. And those people who have the wherewithal, who have the inclination, and who have the personality type also to go to these things and be there to grab the people who are actually about it. Because the other thing is, it is important to remember just how propagandized a people we are. There was a really great interview series by Abby Martin, fucking international treasure. And it was actually the thing that opened my eyes to just how bad things were in the country that is not real. Because she just went walking down the street in Tel Aviv, talking to average people. And I had never heard so much casual genocide, just proudly open, even with a giggle sometimes. You know, one of the quotes was, "Kill all the Harabis," which just means like kill all the Arab people. Like, wow. And just said it like giggling. And this was just some random young woman on the street, right? And there was and some older guy was like, "Oh, you know what? They're going to throw one rocket. We're going to throw one big one. And we're done with it." like it was a joke. And that was regular. Now, why do I bring them up? For obvious reasons, but also, y'all don't seem to realize that that's what the fuck we sound like in this country. About you talking about Iran, talking about Russia, talking about China, talking about any country that our State Department essentially has been propagandizing us against. One of the biggest forms of that propaganda is, even though we don't have the same like angrily, hateful approach towards people like the Palestinians and to like, Arab people in general, we also have been taught to believe that, well, things are just like that there. That region of the world just always there's just always struggles, and they have so much problems with terrorism and all that. It's just so complicated. And that is what allows the more hateful approach to continue. It's the same thing as here, right? Because the libs who are going and breaking bread with their racist family members who say, we got to get rid of all those immigrants, that black people don't share our values or our culture, right? They hear that and they go, well, it's just so complicated. And that's how the thing keeps going. We're past the point where any of us can be quiet, chill, calm. We need to be at these, because yes, there are people at things like No Kings, right? But really what those people need to hear is not the gentle approach anymore. We've done that. We've tried that. And also, there comes a time. There are times when you don't got to talk nice to people. In fact, you shouldn't. Okay? If somebody literally is on fire, are you going to go, hey, sorry, I don't want to bother you, but you maybe should put some, get some water, splash a little water on that flame that you got to. Do you hear how that sounds? And that's essentially what we're doing when we're still trying to gentle parent people who don't get the direness of this moment, right? We need to be able to be forceful, to be real, to be genuine, to be harsh, and sometimes with each other about random stuff, right? This is also me at me, okay? Because I am a Venus-ruled person. I do like to try and find a way that things can be done nicely, in a way that's communicative, in a way that everybody can win. So this is also me at me. But sometimes people fuck up, need to be told they fucked up and that they got you fucked up. Sometimes people need to be told that the shelves are going empty. I've already seen videos from certain places, not the big cities, but certain places where someone went into like a Kroger's and there was just like a bunch of empty shelves. And they were just in there like, oh, whoa, check this out. Isn't that weird? And I was like, that's not weird. That's the law of cause and effect, babes. That's what happens when the Strait of Hormuz gets closed, because our country and our bombs have started a war with the same country that we've wanted war with since basically 1953, right? Let's not forget CIA's first mission. I think it was one of the first missions, if not the actual first mission, was to depose Mohammad Mossadegh. Because why? Because they wanted the oil. Because they wanted the oil for Western powers. And that's how we got to here. Anytime anybody says that they are separate from history, they're either lying or misinformed, and you need to tell them so, right? Relational. This is a relational week, right? And it's that dance between Aries, which is rar, and Libra, which is right? And sometimes both of those things are true. And it's true right now, right? Because a balancing act of things requires that we be able to use either the left hand or the right hand, either the open hand or the closed fist, right? Because quiet as is kept, the Libra instinct, even though it is the one that is known for being peaceable or whatever, those motherfuckers, first of all, shady as all hell, and will stab you in the back. Shade, full shade, not no shade, but full shade. And they know how to get the point across, how to get the dagger in without just coming straight at you. And Aries, as much as Aries is the brash one, they're more likely to just tell you to your face, which actually is kinder, right? Like, let's not forget that the seventh house of each sign is the opposite sign. The seventh house is how that sign kind of deals with people. I know. We drifted off into astrological wonkery for a second, but that's why you're here. That's why you're here. At any rate, the scales need to be balanced this week. And I think for a lot of us, for a lot of you, for a lot of us, that means that we got to figure out where we've been in our relationships. Have we been being honest? Have we been being diplomatic? Have we been genuine? Have we been just saying what needs to get said to keep on going through the day? Or have we been being, and where have we been being real? Because the times we are in a state of war. That's where we are, right? So there's only so much gentle parenting that you can do right now, and not just be lying to yourself or to other people, right? You feel it. Everybody right now feels weird, feels bad. He's a little off. He's a little tense, right? And we're all trying to ignore it and just keep going on. And that's one of the other reasons that I look with not kindly, because fuck no kings, because it's a fucking Democrat-run fucking psyop to drain the energy out of a revolutionary moment. And that's really the truth. But I do get one thing, and it's that we do want to find a way that we can keep going, because everything is going to have to change. And that's hard. That's terrifying. And we all feel it. We all feel it. We all know it. But it is what it is, right? You don't choose when you have to fight sometimes. Sometimes you're minding your own business, just trying to go and get a can of Red Bull from the deli, and somebody comes up to you and says, square up. And your options are square up, knock them the fuck out, or end up laid out on the side street somewhere. And that is what we're facing on a literal societal level. The fight is being taken to us. Do you know at CPAC the other day, they have gone from just all of it. Basically what happens, this is what happens when you slow walk people who are genocidal. But now CPAC is openly saying stuff like, well, there's 100 million people in this country who don't share our values. That's like a third or maybe more, right, of the people in this country. Do you know what they're going to do? Do you know why they're building all these concentration camps? I got news for you, babes. It isn't just for criminal immigrants. There aren't that many of those, right? Immigrants tend to do crime at a much, much lesser rate than natural-born people, right? Those are for us. Those are for us. They're finding different ways. They're starting with trans people. They're starting with immigrants. They're going to put us in camps if we do not find a way to fight back. And while some of the people at the No Kings situation were people who just were misinformed, a lot of them, without any prevarication, a lot of them would happily watch us frog marched into one of those concentration camps so that they could get back to living a life mostly the way that it is now. And that's the cruelty and the evil that you have to contend with in the people that you're still trying to gentle parent. Okay? They don't care about you. They have shown that they don't care about others. They also don't care about your ass. Your family, your nuclear family, family of origin, people that you've known your whole lives, there's a good chance they don't love you like you think they do or they should. There's a chance that the nuclear family is being used as a trap against you. Right? I don't talk shit about, the nuclear family and about stuff like that because I'm just I'm just a mean bitch and I don't like nuclear like it's because it's a trap. It's because we should be looking at the people who are really in front of us, who have really showed up in our lives, and loving up on them, right? We actually have the freedom of motion, right? Think about how few of us would just stay with our family or places of origin if we actually had the freedom to choose who we were with and how and when. We don't have that many choices. We think we're free. There's a great, it's a book, or I don't remember if it's a book or an essay, but it's called They Thought They Were Free. And it's not about Americans. It's about the people of Weimar and then Nazi Germany. Because you can't forget that while everything was going on, right? While everything was going on in the Third Reich, a lot of the people there just continued their lives. They kept going to the baker and to the grocer and having dates, right? Their lives kept going largely unabated. And that is what's going to happen here. Because, you know how I know that? Because that's what has happened here the whole fucking time this country has been here. During enslavement. During enslavement, people were just going and getting their mint julep or whatever the fuck they were getting. I don't know. Right? It is possible to live alongside horrors. How often do you drive past a prison or a jail and you know the people in there don't deserve to be in there? You know they're getting their asses beat every day by guards. You know the food is inedible. You know it. But you got to pay a bill. You deserve to have a good piece of self-care, right? Because the other thing is, in addition to gentle parenting everyone else, we be doing that shit with ourselves. Yes, there's a thing about being too hard on yourself. Of course there is. But in this society, in the United States of America, we are way too fucking easy on ourselves, especially about complicity. We be using stuff like no ethical consumption under capitalism. We be using that as an excuse rather than a rallying cry to end capitalism, the thing that makes us complicit. That's supposed to make us end the things that make us complicit, not to just go ahead and do whatever it is that we want with our money as if it doesn't matter, because it fucking does. It all matters. You matter. And what you do matters. And we already have kings. So you can say no kings all you want to. But if you can call him an oligarch, you can call him a robber baron, you can call him a billionaire, that's a king, baby. Okay? That's a king. In the modern times, the kingdoms might be overlapping, right? The kingdom of Tesla might overlap with the kingdom of Amazon, with the kingdom of the United States. But that's all it is. So they can say whatever they want to about no kings. They can use that as a rallying cry, but it's a fucking lie and it's goofy. Okay? The monsters are here. Like I said, I say this a lot, and I will continue to. The time of monsters of Gramsci is also the time of heroes. And a lot of us ain't acting like the fucking heroes we're supposed to be, that we need to be, and that we really are. If we just stop standing on our own dicks about it. Because you don't need to be someone else. You actually already are that person. You have that power. You have those skills. You have that courage. Let it out. Let it out, baby. But anyway, let's go right to our next segment.